Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be answering the most commonly asked questions about university. And I've locked my phone. So I've been scouring the internet last night across all different forums and things like that, trying to find questions that frequently come up that people have asked other people who are already in university, maybe some of their worries or anxieties about university. So I'm going to be answering those as well as giving you my personal experience. So I hope you enjoy. So I've got the questions written down on my phone, so I'm just going to be going through those. I think there's about 10, so let's get right into it. So the first one is, what is it like living with strangers? Now I think this is something everyone is anxious about, even if you don't usually have any anxieties at all. Honestly, it completely depends on what kind of person you are. Obviously, if you're more outgoing, you're not going to have as much to worry about because you'll find it easier talking to people and making friends. But as I said in a previous video, all you have to remember is that everyone is in the same boat. So whilst it can be intimidating at first, you will get used to it. It also depends on how your flatmates are. I was not the luckiest with my pick of flatmates, but hopefully you will be and you'll all get on great, which makes it so much easier because you turn out not to be living with strangers but to be living with some of your closest friends. Obviously it's natural to be cautious at first regarding like your food, if it's getting stolen, or like locking your door when you leave. But after time that all kind of simmers down and you can get comfortable with one another, and it turns out to be so much fun. The second question kind of ties in with the first, and it's, what should I do if I don't get on with my roommates? I think this is always hard because I have experienced this firsthand. You have to try, that's all I'm going to say. Obviously you're living with each other, so you have to try and make an effort. And if after 5 times, 6 times of making that effort it's not reciprocated, give up. That's probably not the best advice, but that's what I did. I got fed up of trying to make a conversation with someone who just wasn't interested. So in the end, we just lived in the same flat, but in completely different circles. And it turned out to be fine. We'd be cordial to one another, like get out of each other's way if one was going somewhere where the other one was, but we wouldn't go out of our way to say hi or anything. I think a great way to try and get on with your... oh, lighting just changed, whoa. I think a great way to try and get on with your roommates is to organise a flat party, so you'll get to know each other, find out what they like and kind of play off of that so you can have conversations with them. And if worse comes to worse, do something nice, buy them a treat they like or something. All university students are tight on money, so it will go a long way if you make that special effort. The next question is, what are lectures like? I wouldn't say they're that much different from A-level classes. You're basically sat in like an auditorium with all of the layered seats, well I am in my university anyway, and you still interact with your lecturers, like they still ask you questions and expect you to respond. The only thing that is different is all of the content is online, well again for my course anyway. Everything I'm saying is obviously appropriate to my course, it may be different for your course. But it's all online, so if you do miss it for any reason you can catch up and refer back to it really easily, which is something I wish we had at A-level because it makes making notes so much easier. You're also encouraged to bring a laptop, although I never did. I always took pen and paper just because in your exams it's pen and paper, so I didn't want to get to my exams and be like, oh my gosh, I haven't written in a year, how am I going to do this? I wanted to keep my hand muscles up to par. But they do encourage you to take laptops so that you can research stuff whilst you're there, and also it means you can do online shopping if they get boring. So yeah, lectures are pretty chill. Obviously all of your learning is off your own back, they're not going to chase you for it, which is good if you're proactive, but if you're a bit on the laid back side you may want to kick yourself up the bum a bit and try and do as much as you can because they aren't going to chase you, but it makes lectures really relaxed and you get to learn about something you love. The next question is, what's a good budget? Now I'm assuming this includes like food, living, all of those kind of things. And as I think I've said this before, I get minimum student loan, so I didn't have much budget to play with because my student loan didn't even cover my accommodation fees. So I was very lucky. I get money from my dad each month and my mum can afford to send me £20 a week for food. So usually my weekly shop was around £13. I do it at Asda, and you can get it for cheaper. I just buy loads of fresh fruit and stuff, which is obviously very expensive. So I would have £20 for food, and then living in London obviously you need about £10, maybe £15 for transport a week, like London transport. And in my case, I didn't go out very much because I don't really know why, actually. I guess because I had a boyfriend and I didn't get on very well with the people I was living with, so it wasn't like we were going out every night. So I didn't spend that much on going out, apart from like maybe a bottle of wine if we were having a party in one of our flats. But again, London, if you're planning on having one night out, I'd say you need about £30 for getting there. Entry is usually £10, and maybe a drink whilst you're there, because let's face it, you'll probably only be able to afford one, and then an Uber home, which is always expensive unless you split it with people you live with, which is also why it's important to make friends with your roommates. So all in all, that makes what, 50, 30, 10, like 50, did I say 50, 30, 20, 30, 10? So that's about £60–65 a week that you're going to need to survive. But it's very easy to get a job in London. There's loads, and quite a few of them are 0-hour contracts, so it's all good. The next question was like, how do you survive getting drunk every weekend? And obviously I didn't experience this firsthand, but like I've said in a previous video, which I keep saying, you do have to pace yourself, because if you want to go out every night, you're going to need to pace yourself. Oh, I'm getting a call from my sister. Hello? It's 10:30, Phoebe. Okay, bye. She's saying I'm being too loud, but it's 10:30. What question was I on? Oh yeah, so you do need to pace yourself, but obviously have a good time. Oh, I've just locked my phone, which means I'm not going to be able to see the questions. Yeah, so personally I don't get drunk every weekend because it just wasn't, Greenwich isn't really a party university. I mean, you can, but it's very expensive, and I would also come home a lot of weekends to see my boyfriend and my family, which meant I obviously wasn't going out at uni. Another very asked for question was, what's the step up like from A-levels to university? Now, me personally, obviously I'm doing events management, so I've never done that before, so it was almost the same as A-levels because we were learning new content, so it wasn't like I was being overwhelmed. I was very interested in it, which helped a lot. Obviously the step up in workload is very different, because I don't know why, but in my mind A-levels I didn't have that much homework. I had like a piece for each subject every time, but it was probably took like 20 minutes. Whereas you don't really have homework at degree level. You have essays and assignments which take way longer and require way more reading. So the workload is a lot heavier, but I only had 8 hours a week of lectures, so I had a lot of spare time to be able to get my work done and get it to the standard that I wanted it. But I honestly wouldn't say it's anything to worry about. You're obviously choosing a subject that you like, so you're passionate about it. It's just as long as you time manage and get the work done on time, there is really not much of a step up, because you're not having to convince yourself to do it, like you want to do it, you know? I don't know if that made sense. Oh, I've kind of already touched on this. Do you have enough time to study? Yes, I do, because my course is only 8 hours a week, so it was roughly 2 hours a day, 4 days a week. So I had a 3-day weekend, which was amazing, as well as all the rest of the hours during the day to study. I know it's not the same for everyone. Some people have 30 hours a week, which is, I don't know how you manage that. So yeah, you have plenty of time to study. The library is always open, and towards exam times it's open 24 hours, 7 days a week, so you can go in whenever you want to get your work done. Have you done any work experience? I'm kind of doing work experience now. Oh my gosh, the cloud has gone and the sun has come out. I'm kind of doing work experience now. I'm currently working at the BIC, which is like the Bournemouth International Centre, which is for events, and the Hilton, which is a venue obviously for a lot of high-end events. So yes, I'm doing work experience now. During university, like whilst I was still there, I didn't really, because I had a job as well, so I didn't really have enough time. But it doesn't mean you can't find any work experience during your holidays when obviously you don't have uni. This ties into the next question. Is it possible to have a job whilst at uni? Yes, I think it is. I had two. I worked at the O2 as a bar staff, and for a waitressing agency, obviously as a waitress. I nearly said as a waitressing. As a waitress. Both of them are on 0-hour contracts. I don't know why people hate 0-hour contracts so much. I love 0-hour contracts. It meant I could choose when I wanted to work, so if I had weeks of really low university work, I could pick up more shifts. I could not work at the weekend, so I could go out with my friends and go home. And yeah, then they completely understand during exams if you just say, oh, I have exams, I don't want any shifts. And it's also really good for Christmas holidays because you can have the whole 2 weeks off and they don't take it as a holiday, obviously, it's just you not wanting to work. So I think it's completely possible to have a part-time job, maybe not in 3rd year, but during 1st year, definitely it's a really good way to have a bit of extra spending money if you are at a university where you get to go out a lot. Now, the last question I wanted to touch on I thought was really interesting, and it was, looking back, do you think you made the right decision about going to university, obviously? And if you had asked me this, if you had asked me this at Christmas, I would have said no. I was so homesick. It was awful. I was so homesick. And I had regretted not going to Bournemouth Uni because Bournemouth Uni is one of the tops for events anyway. But I wanted to be in London because they were more my style of events being held in London than in Bournemouth. So yeah, if you had asked me then, I would have said no, I want to go to Bournemouth University. This lighting, it was an overcast day, so I was like, yes, perfect, the sun's not going to be coming in and out of the clouds. But guess what, it's getting nice. Yay. And then if you had asked me around March, I would have said no, I don't think I needed to go to university to do events management, because obviously you can work your way up in events management, not everyone has a degree. And if you ask me now, I would say yes. I love living in London, I love my friends in London, I love the events I get to be part of, being a waitress and working at the O2 in London. And I also think that doing a sandwich year, so working a year in industry, is going to really help me get to the place I want to be. I don't want to have to work my way up, start polishing cutlery and then, I don't know, help out and then finally get there. I want to be able to jump those steps, and whilst it is an expensive way to go around it, hopefully it will be worth it. But maybe I'll come back to that question in 3 years' time when I've finished my degree and it might be a completely different answer. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this has helped some of you who had these questions about university and were looking for their answer, and I hope my answers made sense and helped you. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe down below. I really want to get to 200 subscribers really soon, so help me out, and I will see you very soon. Bye!